Hey everybody, Joe Cortez and James Burns of FrontRowPreps.com, powered by Chicken Ranch Casino and Golden Bear Physical Therapy. Time once again, Burnsy, for our large and small school rankings presented by Valley Orthopaedic, the bone and joint specialists.
You can do that again.
I can do that again. Hey, not much happening in the large school poll, except down at the bottom. There's a little bit of movement there. My alma mater, Merced High, comes in. Davis High, fresh off its victory over Bayer, comes in. And that sets up a really nice Santa Fe Bowl between Atwater and Merced this week.
Yeah, the Bears are, like Jody said, are number 9. Atwater sitting in at number 8. And the Bears are a team that we've been talking about. They're a team on the come.
They are a team on the rise.
After a slow start to the season, the Bears have seemingly found their stride, which has got to make Atwater nervous. This is the toughest stretch of Atwater's season right here.
Right.
They've got Merced in the Santa Fe Bowl.
And then Buhack
in the Bloss Bowl.
Our number 2 team in the large school ranking.
And so if they're looking to take any kind of momentum into the postseason, if they're looking to stay in the hunt for a CCC title, to make that Bloss Bowl worth something more than just rivalry, bragging rights,
they got to win.
They've got to beat Merced. But the trick is, very few teams have been able to beat Merced in the last month. The only team to do it had to come from behind, and that team again was the aforementioned Buhack Colony Thunder. I think I like Merced this week in this one. I predicted them in our
Burnsy, there's a reason our colors are black and orange here. Yeah, okay.
You had actually a bear claw, but then we thought that was just too much.
We did not. Moving on to the small school rankings. Lots of shakeup here.
Yeah.
Everything's flipped on its ear.
Yeah.
Tell us about it.
Oh my goodness. So Friday, let's rewind the clock back to Friday. Ripon goes on. Ripon beats Escalon. 42-21.
Doubles them up.
They double up the state ranked number 1, which was immediately was going to throw our whole top 10 into chaos. Right? So Ripon vaults up on the heels of that victory. They vault up to number 1, and we looked at it like this, Jody. We said they beat the state number 1, so they should be ahead of the state number 1.
Absolutely.
And then we took a closer look at that Hillmar loss that Ripon has on its record, and we said that if Nico Alardi and Grant Wiebe were healthy in that game, that might have been a different result. They were leading that game when Grant Wiebe went out with a shoulder injury, and so for that reason alone, we put them ahead. We broke down their individual matchups, and Ripon has a plus 10 point differential when you take into account the games between the big 3, and then we liked Escalon falling back to number 2. Still, again, look at they led that game 14-0. They let it get away from them, but they're still a quality team that beat a large school opponent. They're worthy of the number 2 ranking. And then you have Hillmar, which actually has a better point differential than Escalon within the
Trans Valley League.
Within the Trans Valley League, but they've got I believe it's a 13-point loss to Escalon already on their ledger. We left them we actually knocked them back to number 3. They fill Ripon's spot when Ripon vaulted up. RC is at 4. Okay.
Ripon Christian.
Looking very much like the Southern League champion, looking like a team that could possibly make a run at a D6.
Absolutely.
Or make a return to the D6 final. And then we have number 5, Sonora, coming out of nowhere.
Here come the Wildcats.
A team seemingly left for dead after an 0-4 start. They beat West just before they start Motherlode League play, and then it's been nothing
but the norm.
But the norm in the Motherlode League. They are running roughshod through opponents. They beat Argonaut 34-3. I can't remember for the life of me who they handled in week 2 of league play, but then they beat Calaveras soundly, 35-7. And now they have a big one at Amador. Brent Hart. It was Brent Hart.
And now they have Amador this week.
So we made the decision to go ahead and take them all the way from the land of the unknown, and we placed them at number 5, making sure that they were ahead of Calaveras, the team they beat.
The team they beat soundly.
Ahead of Amador, a team that Calaveras beat.
Soundly.
And
not comfortably.
Yeah. And so that's our shakeup. I mean, we've got a new number 1, a new number 5, and really
Sonora coming all the way up there.
You know, if you're Ripon Christian, are you a little nervous at this point because you've done nothing but win, but you play in a league like the Southern League that maybe isn't as tough as the Motherlode?
Well, it's not.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah. So I think if you're Ripon Christian, you sort of got that Clemson vibe going, right? You might. Where Clemson is getting penalized because it plays in the ACC, it's undefeated, but they're dropping in the rankings. If you're a Ripon Christian, a team that could make bones about being number 1 in this bowl.
Right, they have a case.
But because you play in the Southern League, does a convincing win by Sonora this week over Amador on the road, does that do enough to vault them into number 4 in next week's ranking? That to me is kind of the interesting thing to watch.
And of course, Amador Sonora played at Sutter Creek this week is our Front Row Preps game of the week. And for that prediction, be sure to visit frontrowpreps.com. So that's a look at our large and small school rankings, brought to you by Valley Orthopaedic, the bone and joint specialists. For James Burns, I'm Joe Cortez. Thanks for stopping by.